In this video, note how 3 regular pioneers came to appreciate their cherished place in Jehovah's family, despite major changes in their lives.
Shortly after getting baptized, I set the goal of becoming a regular pioneer. Then I went to preach in an unassigned territory where Mosquito is spoken. After that, I started serving as a special pioneer. And sometime later, I went to the school for Kingdom Evangelizers. Some time ago, I began to suffer from kidney failure, so it felt like I wasn't doing anything anymore, and I couldn't go back in time.
I grew up in a Christian family. My dad worked in the construction of the Bethel branch, and then served as a Bethelite for some time. My mom was a regular pioneer when she was younger. She also volunteered at Bethel. And that's how she met my dad. Some years ago, I started suffering from severe anxiety attacks, and that really affected me in the congregation. I started to compare myself to others, and I did the same with my parents. I felt I could never live up to their example. I think this Watchtower article came just at the right time. I've learned that comparing myself to others is very damaging, and it was bringing me down spiritually. So now that I've set the goal to stop doing that, I've seen good results. I've had the chance to make good friends with older brothers and sisters in the congregation. And when some of them needed help and turned to me, I was happy to help them.
We're watching the May 2023 JW Broadcasting episode and a segment in particular titled Lessons from the Watchtower. So every now and then they give us examples of usually 3 Jehovah's Witnesses who have benefited from a specific Watchtower article. So we're not talking lessons from the Bible here. We're not talking lessons from God's Word. It's all about the Watchtower. The Watchtower is the place to go for wisdom. And we're being introduced to, I'm actually zeroing in on 2 individuals in particular, Francis Pastrana and Diego Gonzalez. Francis describes having to deal with kidney failure, which is something that affects people of multiple faiths or no faith. It's something that people have to deal with, health problems, and I don't see how being a Jehovah's Witness or reading a particular Watchtower article is going to make things significantly better for you when it comes to dealing with health problems. And then you have Diego Gonzalez, who describes growing up in a Jehovah's Witness household where an example was set by his parents. His father worked in construction at the Bethel branch and then served as a Bethelite, and his mother was a regular pioneer. So a high benchmark is being set for him while he's in his formative years, and understandably, he ends up having, quote, severe anxiety attacks. He says, I felt I could never live up to their example. This is another example of where the organization presents problems that it itself has created due to the culture and beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses. This is inevitable. You know, you're going to have people who, as Mark Numel was saying towards the beginning of his talk, end up questioning their worth and feeling as though they're not doing enough, feeling guilty. It's inevitable that people are going to have these feelings of anxiety But when it gets to severe anxiety attacks, what you want to see in a video such as this is advice for people watching that if they are experiencing severe anxiety attacks, they need to seek out the help of a mental health professional. Now, granted, I've just given you a few clips of a longer video segment for the sake of time, but I promise you, if you watch the entire segment all the way through, Lessons from the Watchtower, you are not going to see a single example or a single moment where the viewer is told or encouraged to seek the help of a mental health professional if they are plagued by severe anxiety attacks, which I think is frankly negligent. And we like to think that the organization is making progress in this area because, at least in a recent convention, thumbnail here to sushi number 389, if Tibor is gracious, at least you had a testimonial from a Jehovah's Witness lady who was encouraged by elders to seek out mental health support and benefited from doing so. So you like to think there's at least some improvement, and then you get material like this, where it's not just advisable for there to be advice to pursue mental health support. It's necessary, it's needed, it's a must-have. You've brought up severe anxiety attacks. It's your duty, if you're producing this video, to contextualize this particular issue and make sure your audience is getting the correct advice. And the organization has failed in its duty to those watching this material by, for whatever reason, refusing to say something as simple as, if you are struggling with anxiety, if you are struggling with depression or profound feelings of loss or worthlessness, please seek out mental health support.